Hello everyone. I am doing this video to give some closing thoughts on 2020 and um, give my thoughts on what to expect hopefully going into the new year of 2021. And you're going to have to excuse me because there are some things that I do need to discuss. You're going to see me, I guess, maybe have a little bit of a tear down. I'm going to try to compose myself. I'm good at it. I'm good at it if I can, manage it because no one's bothering me. No one's, I guess, here to disturb me, giving my thoughts. So, um, I guess I want to go into the good of 2020. I guess there is some good things that happened before the pandemic. Um, I guess for me as a whole, and I know maybe some people weren't blessed before the pandemic, but I will say right now, the best day of this whole year for me, and I'm just going to be completely honest, was February 3rd. Now, why am I saying February 3rd? Well, that day I got to witness Mother Nature at work. Many of you know I did my last summit of this year, believe it or not. Well, Jamaica technically counts too, because that was uploaded President's Day weekend this year, but yeah, the last summit I ever filmed this year was 86th Street on the Q. And I went to Central Park that day and I got to see the clouds clear out because they were moving out east. And I had a good walk in Central Park. And there was some stuff I filmed at Central Park that day that not relevant to the conversation now, but the thing I'm grateful for is that one day. And I know maybe other people didn't have the same circumstances even before the pandemic, and maybe it just made it worse. But I'm grateful that I had that one great day this year, and I wish I could relive it all over again. Being honest, maybe I'll get lucky again in 2021, and who knows? Maybe it'll happen all over again. I I hope in that sense that I get to do that because there's a lot of optimism for the new year, and I guess in terms of any other positive, we got to see, I guess, the first responders do their jobs, and I'm grateful to them. Even though I've been at home, and I've always given my gratitude to everybody at Northwell Lij, the place I worked at before this nightmare started. When my last day of work was Monday, March 9th, and haven't worked since. I was allowed into the building on March 10th to collect some stuff, say goodbye to my supervisors. It was their last day in the office too, so how fitting was that? That I wanted to say goodbye to everyone and get some stuff, and I'm just grateful that um, before the pandemic I did have a steady schedule, and um, I've been trying desperately every day to go back. And with this vaccine news, it's definitely looking like it's certainly possible, but I wouldn't want to jump to conclusion and assume we're going to go back to the way things were on Monday, March 9th. Um, I will admit that March 9th felt a little bit weird because there was less people in the library where I work in the hospital because normally it's packed. Like, there's people using the computers, there's people in their cubicles doing work like I was and other people were. So, that was scary that I was one of the few people besides the head librarians in that morning. And many of you know I posted those pictures of Cuomo because I thought, they were overreacting about it at the time. And then um, I know a lot of people think March 12th was the worst day, but March 11th was in my book, the worst day. Now, March 9th, yes, when I got that email saying that we were being put on leave of absence, we were being furloughed, was a rough day as it was. But March 11th, I guess, was rough because the ironic thing was many of you know I work at Osnum Hall on Wednesdays, the nursing home in Auburndale. Sadly, this month was supposed to make 5 years since I started. And I kind of get wrapped up about that. And I'm still keeping my thoughts and prayers to the 63 residents who are pronounced expired this year. My thoughts are with their family and friends, and especially because I personally may know these family members because, again, I've been in Osnum now for who knows how long. And I also give my gratitude to the CNAs and the RNs who I've known over the years as well. They've had it rough too. I get that. My compassion and empathy goes to them as well. I'm grateful that they did the hard, meaningful tasks that the residents needed every day, and I'm still more antsy to go back to the nursing home than I am Long Island Jewish, just because it's a close community in that building. You know people over the years, you know everybody who you work with, and it's just been really emotional. That let alone I can't see the residents, and I can't see their family because, again, I always used to see their family a lot once a week. I can't see my bosses. I mean, I had a very good relationship with them. So I get worked up about that. And yes, Long Island Jewish too, there's the good in that as well. And I owe a lot of gratitude, I guess, to the executive director at Long Island Jewish, Mike Goldberg. If you want to go follow him on Instagram, you can do that. He has a public account. I am allowed to disclose that. He's done a good job keeping calm at Long Island Jewish, making sure that, again, the nurses and the other people who I've walked by over the years, well, not talked to, but walked by in the hospital, or doing their job and keeping their P's and Q's. And, it's a stressful job. I understand that. I'm just the guy who labels mail for the cancer registry department. I'm just that guy. But, not having that the past 10 months almost has just been training, and, every day being in here, I guess, I just really thought that life would just go on. You'd never would ever think that a pandemic would ever just stop everything, and then it just did. It just did. And now here we are, almost 10 months, and I can disclose that the residents at my facility are going to start to be vaccinated on Thursday, January 7th. You can look this information up on their website, but they posted that they had an issue with the pharmacy. They couldn't get enough of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. So I know the schedule very well. The residents and the also the CNAs and the RNs, they are going to start to get vaccinated on... Oh, my bad. Is it Thursday? I thought it was Thursday. Right, it's Thursday, the 7th. Right, I had it marked down on my calendar. And then they're supposed to get their second dose starting on January 21st. So this gives me a lot of hope that my department at Resident Transport could come back online sometime in the new year. I don't want to give a month because the one thing I've learned about this virus, and I had my epiphany about it over the summer, was over in July of this year, was you can never underestimate this virus. You know, you can't just assume you're going to make a month and say, oh, we're coming back this month, we're coming back that month. You know, that's not how it works. You know, my friend in California, Elliot, he he was freaking out over the summer. And he told me there's no way you're going back to work in New York. It's really bad here in California. He's in the Bay Area. He's in the San Francisco area. And, you know, I told him, maybe this is the epiphany I needed. And I'm not going back to work this year. And he says to me, how are you going back to a nursing home and a hospital when your safety is at risk? You could be reinfecting those people even while wearing a mask. So I said to him, should we just wait for a vaccine? And he said yes. And then I told him I shouldn't assume a month then, because by doing that, then I'm just giving high expectations. And me and him were in agreement. And, you know, it's just the point that I am keeping a higher expectation to go back in 2021. If there was no vaccine, then I would just be maybe trying to figure out what to do next. But there are 2 vaccines, and thank goodness that this year has given us 2 vaccines, I guess. You know, the only positive thing that maybe Trump did was give us 2 vaccines. And, you know, maybe it's him, maybe it's somebody else. I don't know who to thank for, but, you know, it's a miracle that we have them. We have Pfizer and Moderna. Hopefully, in the new year, we're going to get AstraZeneca. Hopefully, we're going to get Johnson & Johnson. And I forget what the 5th company was. There is supposed to be a 5th company going into phase 3 trials in January. So, we may have 5 candidates. And the Johnson & Johnson one looks promising because it's actually a one-shot vaccine, from what I've been hearing. So, again, I don't want to rush the FDA's process. I especially want to thank the FDA for hearing my concerns about the vaccine. Right after Thanksgiving, and I even told my boss this at Northwell, I sent a letter to the FDA asking about side effects of the vaccine. We do have the side effects. They did give us the ingredients of Pfizer, and I believe Moderna's ingredients are out too, but we know Pfizer's. So, I'm glad the FDA heard me out. Other doctors got involved with it too, so my message was clear that, you know, other doctors across the country were talking to patients about side effects because they have openly had discussions privately about the flu shot in many years, and now they're concerned about the coronavirus vaccine. So that makes a lot of sense that I got the doctors involved too across the country. It's not just a New York effort, but it was a nationwide effort that we got the doctors to send letters to the FDA. And I want to thank the FDA for not rushing this process. They deserve a lot of credit. I know a lot of people are making assumptions about the FDA right now, and I can tell you this right now, and this is somebody who, again, does mail work for the Cancer Registry Department. They never, ever, ever rush a product out to the public that wouldn't be safe. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is the controversy going on with a couple of people trying to jump the line. Now, I know governors have their own rights to say who gets the vaccine next. Okay, that's their discretion. If the governors want to say who gets it, then they don't have to listen to the CDC at this point. But There's been some controversy here in New York that a that a medical clinic in Brooklyn gave people, we're talking random people off the street, like healthy adults, they gave them the vaccine. And Cuomo here in New York, he's getting serious. You know, if my doctor in Great Neck gave me the vaccine right now and just jumped everybody ahead in line, he could lose his license and he could get fined up to $1 million. Yes, you heard me. $1 million. So, Cuomo's being strict about this. I understand, you know. I was in agreement with everybody at Northwell that we had to get everybody essential. We are talking the people who I brought up, the nurses, the doctors, even Mike Goldberg. We had to get everybody essential vaccinated first. We talked to Howard Zucker. We begged him. We cannot make a hiccup on this process. So, we did the right thing. We took a cautious approach. And we said, this has to be carefully coordinated. And, you know, we might have hit a home run right now. We don't know. Only time will tell. Why is this camera being all buggy? I do apologize. So you're going to have to follow along with me as the camera just keeps having an issue. My goodness. So my point is, Dr. Howard Zucker, who is the head of the New York State Department of Health, was in agreement that nursing home residents, doctors, nurses, essential people who come into contact with COVID patients should get this vaccine first. And I even told my boss at Long Island Jewish, you know, bottom line, we had to make sure that nursing home residents got vaccinated before anybody else other than essential medical personnel. So, with this vaccine, you just can't rush it, because then what's going to happen is you're going to have a mistake like the swine flu, where there was no organization with that vaccine when it came out in 2009 with the H1N1. I personally remembered how much of a disaster that was, because by not having a system that you put people in, essential, non-essential, then you're going to make a hiccup, and then you're just going to cause more of a catastrophe. So, the CDC learned their mistake from the swine flu, and not that many people realize that. You know, a lot of people just forget about swine flu, which, my goodness, that was 11 years ago. I mean, I've lived through 2 epidemics. Because they say in the U.S., this is technically an epidemic. So I lived through swine flu, and I've lived through the coronavirus. So honestly, you know, trying to get vaccines out during an epidemic can be challenging as it is. But by not having a system, again, you'll see what you saw in 2009. Crowded pharmacies like I did. Oh, who's getting the swine flu vaccine? Who's getting it? Oh, I'm sorry, we only have this amount of doses. Because again, that causes fraction, that causes disaster, and I was in agreement with, you know, not everybody at Northwell, but again, the New York State Department of Health. Because, again, I told them personal experience, I was afraid that, you know, you can't rush this process. Yes, we have 2 vaccines, but when we had swine flu, there was only 1 vaccine. That's how alarming it was. Because I remembered Fauci said in 2009, oh, this may take until 2010 to get the vaccine done. And then here we are in 2020, Fauci says, oh, 2021 the vaccine came. Well, look at swine flu. Swine flu was an epidemic from March until, I'd say, the fall. And then Fauci in August comes up with a miracle in 2009, and he says, look, we have a vaccine. So, I know Dr. Anthony Fauci not too well, but I know who he is. And then, obviously, this system is supposed to work. And I really hope it does. Because, again, you really want to see a disaster like 2009 all over again? I don't think so. That's just personal opinion. I also believe that if we are going to go back to a new normal, I saw an article from the NBC affiliate in Orlando. There has to be a way to prove that you got the vaccine. Because the issue is going to be if you don't have proof of identification that you got a coronavirus vaccine, then you're going to cause fraction, and then you're going to cause more issues. Originally, I was hoping that maybe I could go back to work by just wearing the mask, sanitizing, and, temperature checks in the front of the building. But that didn't occur because, again, how are you going to have non-essential personnel if California's having a surge in the summer? And, that's why the plug had to be pulled. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Make a hiccup? Cause us to get sick? I will mention that there are other non-essential personnel in Long Island Jewish who are elderly. Alright, so you can't just rush everybody back. Not until you have a vaccine. And, again, I don't want to make a month, because by making a month, like I told Elliot, then you're just putting high standards. I understand Fauci is making this premise that, you may be able to get the vaccine in March to April. Well, that's not my premise. My premise is, and I was going to say this to everybody, but I'll get it over. It's a simple premise. It's not long and conclusive, but my premise is we should come back when us, not essential personnel, and especially most of us who are in our 20s and 30s, and especially the secretary to my boss, who's in her 20s as well, we should be coming back during phase 5 of this vaccine distribution in New York State, because there's 5 phases that I was in agreement with Dr. Zucker on. And I told Dr. Zucker, well, I didn't tell him personally, but people in Northwell were telling Dr. Zucker, how are we going to have a careful plan here? And, we said, they said to Dr. Zucker, why don't we put the seniors in phase 3? Because right now we're supposed to start phase 2 in January. And it's looking like it's going to happen. We're already starting to see the first responders, EMS, fire, and police officers. They're going to start to get their vaccines maybe even before the end of today even. I don't know. Supposed to put this video up at noon on New Year's Eve. Maybe they'll get it in January. But it's looking like it. So, let's hope that you get to maybe late January, early February, where the seniors get vaccinated. And also, I will mention that I personally have a friend who is under 65. She has a high-risk medical condition, and I'm trying to urge her to get the vaccine, but she's being skeptical about it, so try convincing a person like that to get the vaccine. So, that's another challenge. And more importantly, is Andrew Cuomo supposed to take this vaccine on television? He promised he was. And trust me, I'm going to post that video on this channel. Because I want people to understand that we must start getting vaccinated. We have to, in order to beat this. Fauci says we need 75 to 80% inoculation. We have to. A lot's at stake. You know, I'm trying to focus on health. I mean, your health is the most important thing over anything else. The only other priority I always do is the weather. So, that is important to note, that we have to start doing it. I told my parents, look, I'm in phase 5. I'm 25. I'm a mid-20s healthy young person. You know, I can wait. There's 900,000 people ahead of me in New York. I looked at the number. There was a website. I'll put in the link in the description below. I mean, I can't assume what month I'm getting this thing. But you have to wait your turn. And I know I'm trying to do outdoor things more next year, because knowing more about this virus than we did when it first started, we know this virus spreads less when you're outdoors. That's no question. We know that as long as you're outdoors and you wear the mask, you're fine. And certainly, I don't want to go out there during the winter. You know, I don't know if we're going to get another snowstorm. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the winter, if it's going to be cold or not. You know, I just don't want to make a bad decision right now. I mean, I'm trying to be careful. And, you know, again, I don't want to make a month on when I'm coming back, because then again, it just makes me give high expectations. I don't want to give high expectations. I don't want to. Because by doing that, then I'm putting myself down, like I did in the summer, hoping to come back during phase 4. And, you know, I was hoping to come back during phase 4. But that didn't happen. You know, I was wondering, I kept checking my emails. Oh, maybe we're going to come back during phase 4. No, that didn't happen. So, things just became the way they did. And the vaccine is here. We have it. But again, I'm not going to rush this process along here. So, in 2021, again, we got to get more people vaccinated, because, you know, you're just going to stall this process of us trying to get back to a normal. You know, there's some controversy with it. I get it. But, you know, the most patriotic thing you can do right now, if it's your turn, get this vaccine, please. I mean, sure, you're still going to have to wear a mask until maybe the end of next year. I don't know. But we have to start reopening our economy. You know, Cuomo said we can't have another year of this, and I'm in agreement with him. You know, right now the Buffalo Bills, hopefully next week, they're going to have fans. They're going to have rapid testing available. You know, you can get a test in 15 minutes. So, let's hope it happens. That we can have fans back in stadiums next year. I'm keeping a lot of faith in that. Personally, when I go to a baseball game, well, yes, because you're technically outdoors. I mean, Citi Field has, I guess, plenty of room. I'm not too sure. I mean, there are some narrow stuff about Citi Field. Not everything about it is narrow, but yeah, I mean, if, you know, I could go, I would look into it, no question. if it's available and I could wear a mask, then why not? They had it during the World Series. But the catch is that was an indoor place. That's the problem. That's how this virus spreads. So, again, you have to be outdoors. So, honestly, if I were the Tampa Bay Rays, I would look at a smaller venue to play outdoors in Florida. In fact, it should be mandatory. Because I'm thinking, who has domes? Right, the Blue Jays have a dome, but that's retractable. I think the Astros have a dome, but that's retractable as well. So I'm trying to think, who's the only other team in baseball that doesn't have a retractable roof? Right, the Rays. So I think Globe Life has a, right, my bad, Globe Life has a retractable roof. So the Rays have got to look into having an outdoor venue because you can't have an indoor venue. I'm sorry, but again, that's why this virus spreads. Because you're indoors. You're in a closed space. It's not like my house where I'm with my parents all the time. It's different. My dad wears the mask. Take all the precautions that we do. So, that's another thing people have got to start doing next year. Is, if you are going to gather with people, at least do it outdoors. That's the only safe way we can do this. Again, that's why we know how this virus spreads less. And then, besides that and the vaccine, we got to try to get back to normal. We've got to. How much more can society take? By doing what we're doing, we're only hurting our planet. The problem is, by us staying home more, the CO2 that's been buried underneath is going up. So we're actually hurting the planet right now by actually staying at home and not doing what we did before the pandemic. So that's why we're having all these hurricanes. We're having all this weird weather going on right now. Because we're not out. We're not contributing greenhouse gases right now. It's been buried. It's not going up. So, we got to be careful next year. Because I'm just going to be honest with everyone right now. We have a slim chance of having a normal summer next year. As long as this vaccine goes the way it does. So, I will just say right now that we have got to be smart. We've got to be careful on what we do. We don't want to make a hiccup. All right, you just don't want to make a hiccup here and then be like, oh, I did this wrong and I did that wrong and I got the virus and now I'm going to get to another person. We're just going to have to be careful. And I really hope that next year will be very positive. It's looking like it. I'm keeping faith. I hope I'm right. So, stay smart and stay healthy. And, we will get through this. I really hope this time next year it's going to be more positive than negative. And I'll just mention, if I didn't bring up March 11th, the reason why that was bad was because that's when this whole nightmare started. And, I get notified at work that there's a pandemic going on. So, it just gets very alarming. And let's just, get through next year. And again, I will bring up personally that my prayers and my condolences go out to again those 63 residents who were pronounced expired. My thoughts and prayers go out to their family and friends, and every patient at Long Island Jewish, every nurse, doctor who sacrificed themselves. You're in my thoughts too, and again, I brought this up earlier this year. Again, I know I've bashed Queens Village Bus Depot, but you know the loss of Lionel Hogan is still sad as it is, and you know I'm sure Lionel did touch a lot of people, and you know I just want to thank you know him, and again my thoughts and prayers go to his family and friends, along with again TWU Local 106 and ATU 1056 as well, and hopefully in the next year I will be proactive in following up in leads, and you know, we are going to figure out why the buses are breaking down, because my closing thoughts, I've been getting notified what's going on at Queens Village again, and the breakdowns are getting a lot worse. So I'll be keeping an eye on that in the new year. Hopefully I'll be back on transit, because it's looking like it's going to happen. Just as long as I get the ID for the vaccine. We can only hope, right? So, hopefully I'm back. Hopefully I'm back to doing what I did, and again, I don't want to give a month, but I'm just going to say this right now. I expect the first quarter of 2021 to be positive. A little bit. I'm hoping February and March we start seeing something, and they're already vaccinating people 65 and older in Florida, so I don't know how they're doing that, but they're moving along with that. Also, I'm making an announcement right now regarding my future in 2021. A lot of people have wanted me to run for public office. I am officially announcing that I will not be running for city council in the 24th district. A lot of people have wanted me to run in this district. Many of you know Rory Lantzman resigned. I will not be running in the February 2nd special election. If I were running, I already would have made an announcement. I already would have filed with the Campaign Finance Board. I will not be doing that, and I will also not be running in the general election. And a lot of people also want me to run for mayor. Well, that's not happening either. So, the reason why I'm doing this is because I need to be there for OSDM, and I need to be there for Long Island Jewish, because it's going to be very difficult in the new year with me not being there and me focused on running for public office. It's going to be a conflict of interest, and also I feel that if I am running for office, it could distract me from my duties at Passengers United. I do expect to be called back to 2 Broadway sometime in the new year. I don't know when it's going to happen, because I know I spoke to the director of the PCAC, and she told me that the first quarter we are still doing the virtual meetings. We were in agreement with that. So I don't know when I'm going back to 2 Broadway. I literally have no clue when I'm going back. Or any of my other colleagues have any clue when we're going back. I mean, we want to be back, no question. We do want to be in the boardroom. You know, because it's kind of miserable being in front of a computer screen for 9 months. I mean, yeah, sometimes you'll have connection issues, and we've had that, but and hackers. But the whole point of being at the MTA building is to commute to it. That's our jobs. And we haven't had that since February. So I will not be doing that. However, I am always available for volunteer work. Everybody knows that. Um, I will be making an announcement on who I will be volunteering for down the line. Currently, right now, I am doing volunteer work for the two Democrats running for the Senate in Georgia. I will mention that today is the last day of early voting, so if anybody's in Georgia and made it this far in the video, you have until 7 p.m. tonight to vote in early voting, because your last chance will be on January 5th. So, just want to bring that up. I am volunteering for the Warnock Ossoff team right now. So far, I think it's going very well. I've gotten a few people on board with the phone bank. You can get involved in the phone bank too, if you want. You don't have to, but I'm doing it because things in D.C. are going to be a mess if Chuck Schumer does not become the leader. I know it's personal opinion, but I can't imagine more transit funding not coming if we don't get Reverend Warnock and Jon Ossoff to win, because then not just that, but also there's going to be more gridlock. You don't know what Mitch McConnell could do, and a lot's at stake, and we've got to make sure that we pull off this miracle in Georgia, because it's a purple state right now. It's purple because red and blue make purple. Everybody knows that. It's an art thing. I learned that in high school. But all reality, that's what I've been doing. It's been virtual, and I do expect to participate in the process of electing our next city council representative here in the 24th district on February 2nd. I will be reaching out to Senator John Liu's office in the new year to discuss the absentee process, because John was very nice enough to email me personally how the process works, and I'm sure John's going to be involved in the process too, because again, State Senate District number 11 covers the City Council District 24, so John is going to be involved in that. Also, we need help from Donovan Richards, our current borough president, to help us get the word out about this election. Currently, right now, I know my former city councilman, James Gennaro, is running. If you don't know who James Gennaro is, he was the predecessor to Roy Lantzman. And, again, I've said some bad things about Rory in the past, but Rory has a much tougher job now than he did in any other assignment that he has, because right now he's dealing with utility complaints. And trust me, try being on the phone with people over that. That can be more stressful than dealing with legislation in the city council. That's more stressful than being in City Hall, being honest. So, I will be trying to be involved in the process the next couple of weeks. Again, my main focus is this race in Georgia, because it's a nationwide outreach that we're doing, because a lot of people from all across the country are getting involved. We have people in the East Coast, Midwest, West Coast involved with trying to make sure that the first 100 days of the Joe Biden administration go smoothly, that we do not have a problem with cabinet picks getting stalled, with legislation being stalled. So, that's important to note. That's very important to note. And we have to hope that we can pull off this miracle on January 5th. McConnell's just being stubborn over the stimulus again. They're trying to increase it to 2,000, but we don't know what's going to happen with that. That's just, a big mess waiting to erupt. So, again, before I wrap this up, our election for City Council District 24 will be on February 2nd. Again, I'm going to see who's running. I'm going to see what happens on that end. But again, I know James Gennaro is running. So, let's see what happens with James Gennaro. Because the one issue he needs to focus on is the trash situation. I know transit's one thing, but whoever's going to represent us here, they need to address why we have so much litter west of 188th Street, and yet when you go east of 188th Street, where Barry Condendrick's district is, how come their trash gets picked up? How come there's no litter? You know, that gets me suspicious. Because the last time I was on 73rd Avenue over the summer, my goodness, there was so much trash. I mean, not as bad as what Pine Power has to deal with in Mineola, which, ugh. You know, Mineola has it much worse than we have it. But, you know, I'm still mad at the mayor for cutting the sanitation budget. You know, that's why I think Catherine Garcia is running for mayor, because honestly, she's probably going to be advocating to get sanitation funding. So, that's another thing, you know. We have mayoral election in 2021. I don't know how that's going to end up. But as far as Nassau County Executive is concerned, Laura Curran's easily going to win a second term. She's done a good job handling the virus in her county. So I would be very surprised if she did not win a second term. Remember, Nassau County is a swing county because sometimes you'll have a Democrat in charge, like Suozzi and Curran, and then other times you'll have your Ed Mangano people, and, you know, it'll go one way, it'll go the other way, it'll go one way, it'll go the other way. So Nassau County is a very indecisive county. I mean, you don't know who's going to vote for who. So, keep in mind that, who's the other guy? George Santos, I think he was. Yeah, he almost defeated Suozzi in Congress. But then they got the absentee ballots, and that was a mess to even deal with in that upper district of Nassau County. So, again, New York City, my people watching, especially in Nassau, again, vote next year. You voted. We had record high turnout in the presidential. We need record high turnout in next year's elections as well. So, I'll be more vocal about the elections next year. So, lots at stake. So, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. So, Happy New Year, everyone. And, I will be giving coverage of the results in Georgia next week. So stay tuned for that. And I will be giving, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, an education guide on the special election here in my city council district. So with that, Happy New Year. And until the next one, please take care.